All right, this is State of Florida versus Stephen Allen Cooper, case number 19 CF 866. Mr. Cooper's before the court today. He represents himself. Mr. Cooper, do you still wish to represent yourself?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, there's been a bunch of motions filed today, but print out the motion that I've denied, most of the pro se, the ones that were filed as of the 12th. Madam Clerk, I've dismissed, the motion to dismiss defendant's motion to reinstate bond and vacate related bond forfeiture, and notice of speedy trial.
Development resubmitted.
Yeah, and I'm gonna deny them again. All right, where we at? I dismissed the pro se notice of speedy trial demand. But okay, we'll set it for the November. Anything else, Mr. Cooper?
Yes, you dismissed them because of a certificate of service, and they were refiled with a proper certificate of service.
They were just refiled today. I have not had a chance to look at them. So I won't deny them today. I'll just reserve on that. Okay. I can't, I just have not, they were not in the court file when I looked this morning. They were filed today. So I'm not prepared to order them. I will not dismiss them today, but I will have a chance to look at them. Okay.
So I have a right to reinstate bond.
No, I'm not reinstating it right now. And I'm not going to reinstate your bond. You failed to appear. Judge Costello, my understanding that Judge Costello was covering for me, that you appeared by Zoom, and you did not come to trial as you were ordered to. So you're not getting back out of jail.
It was not willingly though.
You're not getting out of jail, Mr. Cooper.
But I have a right to bond.
Denied. All right, well, denied.
I do have a motion that I'd like to submit to you.
You can
for
submit it.
Disqualification of judge.
Okay, submit it.
Who should I hand it to?
To the clerk. We'll set that for the 19th. We'll have a chance to look at the other ones, okay?
Before we even step inside today's courtroom, you need to understand something. This isn't just about traffic tickets or missed court dates. This is about ego versus authority, fantasy versus law, and people who genuinely believe the rules don't apply to them. First, we've got Stephen Cooper, a repeat offender in the art of wasting judicial patience. This is a guy who treated court like a Zoom meeting from his couch, until the judge treated him like a fugitive instead. Bench warrant issued, freedom revoked, reality activated. And now, he's sitting in a cell asking the same judge he ignored to please, pretty please, let him back out. Then we head into even deeper waters with an American state national, one of those self-declared sovereigns, who believe highways are international waters and driver's licenses are government mind control devices. These are the people who walk into court with laminated cards, imaginary immunity, and confidence powered entirely by YouTube Law School. Today's video is a masterclass in what happens when courtroom theatrics meet judges who actually know the law. You'll see excuses collapse, fake jurisdiction arguments get exposed, and patience run out in real time. So buckle up, because ignorance is loud, but the law is louder.
This is State of Florida versus Stephen Allen Cooper, case number 19 CF 866. Mr. Cooper is present in the courtroom. He's representing himself. Mr. Cooper, do you wish to continue to represent yourself?
Yes, Your Honor.
And we're set for trial November 3rd. All right. Did you get the order to deny motion for disqualification of judge?
I have not received that.
I'll have that printed out for you. There's some other motions that you filed. Looks like we got them yesterday. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this on the trial docket for that November date. I'm going to set this for October 24 for a trial management and motion day.
I got the bond reinstatement that was previously filed, and then
yeah, I'm going to deny that motion for bond. You're based on your failure to appear. I'd already, and for the record, I have had you arrested at least once on a failure to appear, released you again on, allowed you to go back to, I believe, Ocala. On the morning of trial, after you filed a demand for speedy, you failed to appear, and Judge Costello revoked your bond at that time, had a capias, and then we had to, I think the capias was outstanding for a while. So my motion is denied.
I'm prepared to make arguments in regard to that.
I'm not prepared to listen to them. I'm ruling on your motion. Okay? Well, I can rule on a motion without hearing argument, and that's what I'm doing today. Anything else?
Any of the other motions?
I'm going to hear everything on the 24th, because you just filed a bunch yesterday on the 16th, and we got them in the court file. So I'll hear everything the 24th. That will conclude today's hearing. Mr. Cooper, we'll see you then. Mr. Cooper, you're here today on your trial management. I believe you're set for trial November 3rd at 8:30. You're representing yourself. Do you wish to have an attorney appointed to represent you or talk any more about that?
No.
Okay. All right. Where are we at?
I believe it's the motions, and I have my motion to reinstate bond. And
That'll be denied.
all the motions filed on the 14th that you postponed 30 days until this date, and none of them have been responded to.
Audits reverse, responding to his multiple motions to dismiss, motion for discharge, and the motion to quash the information.
All right.
Actually, a motion to disqualify the judge was filed as well. I believe you got that.
I think I've ruled on that, hadn't I?
I believe you got another one.
Yeah. All right. I'll get you in order to that next week. We'll leave it on the docket for November 3rd. See you then.
Are you going to give me the traverse? Because I haven't received anything.
Yeah. If you don't have it, the state has this already been filed. So if you want to give it to him or state.
Right here is where you see Cooper's entire strategy laid bare. Paperwork over responsibility. Instead of addressing why he skipped court, he hides behind filings, certificates, and procedural noise. Sovereign types and pro-se defendants love this tactic. They think if they overwhelm the court with motions, the judge will either get confused or tired and cave. But courts don't work on vibes, they work on records. And Cooper's record is ugly. Every time he talks about service, refiling, or technical defects, he's trying to shift attention away from the real issue. He failed to appear for trial after being ordered in person. That's not a clerical error, that's contempt in motion. Judges see this constantly. You don't get bond reinstated because your paperwork is cute. You get bond when the court trusts you. And Cooper already burned that bridge, salted the ashes, and then asked for a hotel room on top of it.
First matter, Amos Canzoni, come on up and have a seat if you would. Go ahead and have a seat, sure. There's no contract. You and I have no contract. We resolve it in this way. It's a civil infraction, which means the city has the obligation of going first. Go ahead and have a seat and speak into the, if you're more comfortable standing. No, this isn't the time for questions. This isn't the time for questions. What we do here, this is not, we do it in a certain order. The first thing we do is, as you were cited for 2 infractions, is as I read what the officer said, until there's nothing before me, until we have the officer's statement. Once we have the officer's statement, then you can present whatever argument you want. That's the time you make your argument.
So what is it about today?
Pardon?
What are you planning on doing today?
Well, you're defending yourself against the issuance of 2 infractions.
No, I'm not the defendant.
Well,
Would you agree with me?
you're whatever you want to call yourself, a defendant, a respondent. You're the person who was issued the citations.
That's the problem. That's not the defendant.
I've read the argument. You're not raising it at the right time. Raise the argument after I've read the officer's statement into the record.
I have actually contested that statement on the return service that you received in the file.
Right.
Statement is not accurate.
If it's not accurate, now is not the time. We don't have the statement yet. I need to read the statement. On January 2nd, 2025, at approximately 1600 hours, while on patrol within the city limits of Yelm in a marked patrol vehicle, when I observed a silver Buick traveling east on Mossman Avenue with Washington registration ACA 8168. The registration showed expired as of 11/24. I conducted a traffic stop using my emergency lights. The driver was identified as Amos Canzoni by his Washington State driver's license. Amos first gave me a random card stating he was an American citizen and did not need a driver's license. Amos attempted to argue his sovereign citizenship and that he did not need a driver's license. Amos was unable to provide me with current proof of insurance and stated he did not have any at this time. Amos was given the opportunity to contact the valid driver who was unable to do so. I advised Amos that his vehicle would be impounded. Amos was given a criminal citation for driving while license suspended in the 3rd degree, a traffic citation for no insurance, and a copy of the TOFR. Amos was given a courtesy to his residence. The vehicle was impounded from the scene by Wharton Towing. That's what the officer said. Now I'll listen to you.
Okay.
Now,
This is the courtroom equivalent of a door slamming shut. Cooper keeps saying, I have a right to bond, but that's not how reality works once you violate court orders. Bond isn't a participation trophy, it's conditional freedom based on trust. The second you ghost the court, that trust evaporates. Notice how the judge doesn't debate philosophy with him. No long lectures. Just, you failed to appear, you disobeyed a trial order, and now you sit. Judges don't reward behavior that turns the legal system into a game of hide and seek. Cooper keeps trying to frame it as misunderstanding or unwillingness, but the court frames it correctly. Accountability, and the scariest part for defendants like Cooper? Every denial compounds. Each failure makes future mercy harder to earn. You can hear it in the judge's tone, not anger, not ego, just certainty. This isn't personal. This is procedural gravity pulling Cooper back to earth.
the microphone.
I gave the officer very first once when he approached me, I gave him this, my American State National Credential Card. And this has all the information he needed to look up to find out that I'm not a US citizen and therefore not in his jurisdiction. And therefore, there's no issue about traffic violations because there was no crime involved. And then he refused to look up the information by his own choice. So then he required my driver's license, which I told him I can give it to him, but that does not apply because it's my license, it's not the DOL sign, because my name is a copyrighted name, and therefore it's in my possession. But anyway, he then went on to saying about sovereign citizen. That's an oxymoron, and I tend to say only morons use that term because a sovereign can never be a citizen. Citizen has an obligation to whatever government or state he's subscribing to, whereas a sovereign, I'm a foreign sovereign. I mean, I'm foreign to your jurisdiction. I'm here talking to you now as a lawful person. I can talk to you because we're both persons in this environment, but I'm not subject to legal rules and everything. That's up to you. That's you are subject to. I'm not. I tried to tell that to the police officer because for his own protection, I told him, look, I'm not really who you think I am. I'm a driver, not driving a commercial vehicle with interstate commerce. It's the only reason I would have a driver's license. So that's why I gave him the credential card first, so he could correct his mistake. He refused to do so, and they ran me through the mill, and you know what the mill was doing afterwards. So that's all criminal now because I'm a foreign sovereign, and I posted it on my door. I posted it in my file that I have a Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act, meaning help that holds me, a man, a lawful person, immune towards the legalese, the legal subscription, which a dual citizen has obligation as.
That last line says everything. Courts don't just judge moments, they judge patterns. Cooper's pattern is simple. Ignore orders, argue later, repeat. Judges are trained to look at conduct over time, not excuses in the moment. And Cooper's timeline reads like a how-to manual for losing judicial sympathy. When he files motions to disqualify judges, it's not legal strategy, it's emotional defense. It's a way to avoid dealing with the consequences of his own actions. But courts don't rotate judges just because a defendant doesn't like outcomes. They rotate defendants into custody when behavior shows risk. This is why courtroom games fail. You can't outpaper a warrant. You can't debate your way out of contempt. And you definitely can't convince a judge to trust you again after you proved multiple times that you won't show up when freedom depends on it.
Do not have those obligations. And I tried to tell you that too in my paperwork as a meeting. And so you don't have a claim. You have to actually prove jurisdiction over me 1 year. The defendant is not me, but defendant, the name, all caps name, is under my private copyright and trademark. So you basically created, not you with you, I mean the federal government created that name. And I'm asking you, do you agree that the name represents a usufruct derivative? It's something you can use to access my assets and create credit therefrom. And then without my consent or knowledge, you can then create monetary incentives for yourself and for the court and everything. But the credit and the asset still belongs to me. So the conundrum I have with you now is, you are the ones who would have to pay the fine on that violation because it doesn't concern me. It concerns a usufruct derivative, which I still don't have any control over, even though it's in my copyright and trademark. That's the whole conundrum I have with the court and with the federal government itself. You trespass upon me, you basically transform me into a defendant, all caps in defendant, which I am not, and I have proven that I'm not. And yet you still try to link me to that case with that defendant, and I would claim that the government is responsible to offset all these fines or whatever you want to create under that name and hold me harmless because I have nothing to do with it. So that's, in a nutshell, the situation. But I would also say you have to prove jurisdiction first before you have a case, and you haven't done that so far. Nobody has rebutted my documents I filed into the court case. That means in your own rules, it's admitted truth because it has not been rebutted. It's fact and truth. And then you would technically have to honor these facts and truth. But by continuing with the charade, you do not. And you do not recognize that you're basically now in criminal contempt of the law because do I have to spell it out? As of January 1st, 2025, poof, this court has disappeared. The municipal government has been liquefied with a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, which has been finalized January 1st. And now, basically, you don't even exist anymore. Or if you do exist, you would have to be on Washington, D.C. ground because you're not having any rights to be on land and soil.
And now we switch from missed court dates to made-up law. American state nationals are sovereign citizens with a branding upgrade. Same nonsense, cleaner vocabulary, stronger confidence. They believe the Constitution is a subscription service and jurisdiction disappears if you say the right words in the right order. These cases are dangerous, not funny, because they infect people with false confidence. They convince regular drivers that licenses are optional, insurance is fictional, and courts are corporations instead of institutions. That's how someone goes from YouTube comment sections to impound lots in one afternoon. The problem isn't that they question authority. Healthy skepticism is fine. The problem is they replace law with fantasy. And fantasy does not survive contact with judges who actually read statutes for a living.
Now, that's something that's in general, that has nothing to do with this court specifically. It's just a general thought that has been put on the people of this country. Now, I have another document here. I would like to post it. I have it already filed in the docket, but it shows the residents of this country. Residents in all caps named. We all know a resident is only a temporary living in this country or in the state. There's not a single American in the census of 330 million people. Now, my question to you is, why do you insist on treat us like sovereign citizens, which is an oxymoron, rather than recognize our status? Because in Thurston County, there's maybe 2,000 of us, if it comes to a high number. Everybody else can be treated as a dual U.S. citizens, which gives you all the rights you have, but not against me. So that's your problem now, because I've documented everything in the file. So basically, I've made a counterclaim. I nullified your claims, including the fines, including whatever you want to bring up, including the statements of the police officer. They've all been voided out by me responding, return service response. And that also would also be appearance in court, by the way. So he never not appeared in court. I just give you the courtesy. Well, it's basically not a courtesy, it's under duress. I come here to make sure I inform you of the situation you're basically maneuvering yourself into by not recognizing who I am as foreign sovereign, because I'm outside of your jurisdiction period. So that's why you don't really have a case. And it would be wise if you would allow the prosecutor to file a notice of dismissal or cancellation of the case, because it won't have any jurisdiction, and I have proven that on the record.
This is where sovereign citizens expose themselves. The officer's statement is clean. Expired tags, suspended license, no insurance, attempted immunity through a random card. But instead of disputing facts, the defendant disputes reality itself. The laminated credential card is psychological armor. It makes them feel powerful, protected, and special. But courts don't recognize vibes, they recognize statutes. No card overrides traffic law. No declaration cancels jurisdiction. And notice the tactic: shift from behavior to identity. Instead of, I didn't have insurance, it becomes, I'm not a citizen. Instead of, my license was suspended, it becomes, I'm traveling. That's not defense, that's semantic cosplay. And judges don't rule on costumes. They rule on conduct.